They're out there. Thousands of them. Millions of them. They walk the streets, ready to make their next move at any time. In fact, there are more than 70 million in North America alone, but they can be found all around the world. They have their own language. They have strong economic power. Their cultural hegemony is unrivaled in North American history. Yes, this group I am talking about is the dreaded
Generation Y.
Armed with wallets and the latest technology, members of Generation Y have been consumers since birth, and are believed to be the most technologically advanced and globally minded generation of consumers to ever exist. The term Generation Y first appeared in the August 1993 issue of Ad Age magazine. It was used to describe children born between 1980 and 1995, who are the offspring of the baby boomers. Every generation, of course, is shaped by the cultural and political events of its time. However, Generation Y has been weaned on some rather transformational events, from the OJ scandal to the advent of the iPod, from the Columbine shootings to the introduction of the Internet, and all this came before September 11th. Well, amidst this chaos, Generation Y members are all trying to create one thing for themselves: an identity. It's different these days. Identity is no longer based in traditions like your family, profession, or religion. No, kids today are free to create and construct their identity just the way they want to. Right? Generation Y consumers are certainly aware that mass media represents life in a highly stylized and idealized way. But ads are encoded with allegorical meanings about how to live one's life. So the question here is not, do advertisers distort reality? But instead, the question remains, what meaning do consumers derive from the total allegorical system of mass media? What I really want to know is, how does advertising go beyond selling a product to selling a lifestyle? I wanted to know more about the dreams of identity that advertising offers, so I decided to ask Robert Thompson, a professor of media and popular culture. He says that modern North American identity has a lot to do with acquisition.
Here, in modern society, you need to carve out your own identity, and I guess one of the most obvious ways to do that is to really climb that corporate ladder, or just the ladder of society now, to constantly move up. It's not about birth and class or how you were born, but it's about financial status.
Advertising has become a lifestyle issue as it makes itself meaningful within the larger ideological realm constructed by mass media. It operates in harmony with the greater consumption control by the elite level of society, permeating our cultural environment. This is where the idea of infotainment comes into play. Ads, TV shows, and real life are becoming increasingly harder to distinguish from one another.
We very often see representation of ourselves, the middle class, in upper class situations, specifically in shows like Friends or Sex and the City, where every character, though espousing a middle class type of existence, lives in a very upper class type of world. It's a completely new development in entertainment, and it really does have a crossover effect on the Generation Y and their attitudes and their behavior and their outlook in terms of their own class distinction.
Advertising needs to be viewed as part of the broader system of production, distribution, and consumption in the global marketplace. It is more significant for its long-term effects on thought and behavior than its short-term impact on consumer behavior. But I suspect that advertisers might actually realize the power that they hold. They've drawn upon the insights of the social sciences to target Generation Y beneath their level of awareness. advertising has transformed into a powerful and omnipresent apparatus that knows consumers better than they know themselves. But how can marketers morally go about their day promoting this type of lifestyle? Meet Ronald Lund, the president and CEO of the Association of Canadian Advertisers. I met up with him to ask how advertisers can morally go about their day-to-day business.
We need to change our present philosophy when it comes to consumption, because I think having a society that is able to consume and has the wealth to be able to do it is a major accomplishment for our society in our time.
Ron believes that it is desirable to urge consumers to acquire additional material objects, and that it is marketing's social responsibility to help stimulate the desire to improve the quality of life, particularly the economic quality, and so serve the public interest.
Like when people used to read comic books and think that going to the moon was impossible. Well, now with the web, the internet, and the ability to communicate across vast amounts of people, places, and especially things, I think market activities and marketing should become something that is valued, because we are in a consumer type society, and instead of being producers, we now are consumers. Marketing needs to be paramount.
Marketing is truly an institution of social control in a relatively abundant economy, and it can all be justified by theorists and scholars throughout the ages. The most relevant theory is Noam Chomsky's propaganda model, which argues that propaganda works to marginalize dissent and encourage apathy. Propaganda is used by elites to indoctrinate people, which is essential for them to maintain their control. People must come to see the interests of the ruling elite as their own. Now, while our society has no formal state censorship, the media self-censors in the interests of the wealthy elites who dominate the corporations and the major political parties. Wait, I know what you're thinking. There's no way advertising has us all conforming. We're all so different and unique. Well, this is true. With advertising agencies looking for new ways to market to Generation Y, they offer a wide array of attitudes and interests to us. But if you ask me, it's one brilliant marketing ploy. First, the more products available, the more products that will be bought. Second of all, with such a variety of social norms and products available to us, it prevents a collective mass. No, advertisers keep us separated because they need us to follow them, with no outlet for change in sight. It seems to me we're stuck in a cycle. We grow up surrounded by media and advertising content promoting a consumerist lifestyle. We grow up wanting the American dream, which has now become the Canadian dream as well. We spend all of our money and all of our parents' money trying to achieve it. We then find ourselves going to school and accumulating debt so we can get a job to afford to buy more things and live the life we want. Before we know it, not only are we buying these companies' products, but we're working for them too to help them increase their profit. And we are good hard workers because we cannot afford to be unemployed, and there's still that school debt to pay off. We work hard all day to come home to a luxurious house filled with all the products and technology we could ever need, where we sit down and consume media which informs us that we don't have all the products and technology we could ever need, so we better wake up tomorrow and do all we can to acquire it. Okay, so maybe that sounds a little pessimistic, but it's true, folks. Advertisers are out there, and they want our minds and our money. They want us to be the best consumers we can be, and they assure us that we will be happier the more we buy into this system. Advertisers may be manipulating us in their interest, but hey, can you really blame them? I mean, aren't they too just chasing the dream?
Consumption. It's the new national pastime. Fuck baseball. It's consumption. The only true lasting American value that's left, buying things. Buying things. People spending money they don't have on things they don't need. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. You know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. By the way, it's the same big club they use to beat you over the head with all day long when they tell you what to believe. All day long, beating you over the head in their media, telling you what to believe, what to think, and what to buy. The table is tilted, folks. The game is rigged. And nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care.